Hello and welcome to Friday Night Fright presents comic book Calvacadia 2020. Man, we're going to have some fun this month. Every episode in May, every day in May, there's going to be a brand new episode. It's going to be a mini review of a comic book movie. Yay, can't wait, hyped. So it's going to cover the gauntlet. It's going to be loads of MCU stuff. There's going to be some DC stuff probably. Might be some other stuff. There's going to be Flash recaps of Flash Season 2 every Tuesday. So it's going to be 4 or 5 of those, depending on how many Tuesdays are in May. But it's going to be tight, because I've also got a week off. Yay! Anyway, this is the intro comic book Calvacadia. So you hear this every day of the week, and then you'll hear an intro for the movie I'm covering that day, or TV show. Ooh, scary! Anyway, I'll be back after a brief word from our sponsor. Hello, and welcome to CBC Let's try that again. Hello and welcome to Comic Book Calvacadia CBC Day 2. May 2nd even. May 2nd. I can't even do this properly. It's Iron Man 2 time. Yay. I'm sure some people are going to be like, Ian, why aren't you doing The Incredible Hulk? Well, it's not on Disney Plus. And be honest, it's not that good. And to be even more honest, it doesn't really factor into Marvel Cinematic Universe at all, because they changed Bruce Banner from Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo. And despite the fact that Funkbelt Ross shows up in late movie, it might as well be a different version of the same character. I'm sure you can go for the multiverse thing if you want. That technically Marvel Cinematic Universe has different universes, and the Incredible Hulk's one of them, but it's not part of the main universe, despite some throwaway lines later on. Remember, it's Iron Man 2 time, yay! I remember seeing Iron Man 2 in cinema. Like I said, I really enjoyed Iron Man at the time, saw Iron Man 2, and I enjoyed it at the time. You know, it's a simpler time, 2010. I think I enjoyed The Incredible Hulk, but I wasn't that big a fan of it. And seeing Tony Stark and Rob Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark game was quite cool at the time. I don't know if it's aged brilliantly. I remember a lot of people at the time weren't happy because they thought it set up a lot of Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff rather than being a complete movie on its own end. But maybe viewing it back in retrospect with Marvel Cinematic Universe being what it is, it'll play a bit better. Maybe. I do remember liking Black Widow at the time in the movie, but maybe in retrospect, again, maybe it doesn't quite work in a wider stream of things, because she's meant to be a spy, but apparently they give her a backstory of being a model, but surely you wouldn't want to advertise a spy. You know, like, surely you wouldn't want to plaster a spy's face or anything, that even if you're certain that someone is. So yeah, there's that. You know, who knows, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be good, but anyway, this is Comic Book Calvacadia, and Iron Man 2's review is coming up in just a few seconds after a brief hiccup from my sponsor. And I'm back, and I just watched Iron Man 2, which was the third moving Marvel Cinematic Universe after Iron Man and Incredible Hulk. And what are my reactions on Iron Man 2? I don't think this will be a very long review today. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think the key word for this is always going to be retrospect, because I don't necessarily get the impression that it works like a standalone movie, because it doesn't work as a standalone movie. It's very much focused on setting up wider schemes of Marvel Cinematic Universe even, which was prevalent at the time and more prevalent nowadays. And to that end, it does a good job. It does a lot of setting up, a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of moving pieces in position. Some effectively, some not. And fundamentally works as like in comic books, not necessarily so much anymore, but back in the day, a lot of comic books used to do prequel prologue events to big events. So you get, like, for example, Civil War had Road to Civil War. And it would be like comic books distinctly setting up Civil War, because otherwise it would seem come out of left field. You know, if like this shit happened, you know, crazy stuff happened, like a school bus being exploded by a supervillain, sometimes in comic books you needed context for that, I guess. And so this was putting the Civil War Road to Civil War comic, putting the dynamics of the universe at the time and various things the Illuminati did and of that nature, so that when you got to the main comic event, you're like, yeah, this definitely feels like Iron Man 2 ... Road to the Avengers, because that's where we're building these movies. We're building the Avengers movie. And this seemed very much like the first Iron Man's a good standalone movie, but this seems like, right, now we need to start moving Tony Stark and his characters and Marvel Universe towards the Avengers. Like, when Iron Man became success, they're like, okay, we got to monetize this shit now. And they did, by all accounts, a good job. But it does tailor material to a fair extent, because half this movie is clearly a character study of Iron Man, and the other half is clearly how can we get Iron Man to become an Avenger, because he's pretty far from it at the end of the first Iron Man movie. And the way they do it is actually quite clever. They break Iron Man down. The first movie's about building Tony Stark and Iron Man up. This movie's about knocking them down and reconstructing them. And by doing so, they make him a very, very much more layered character. But it's not necessarily the most interesting thing, because people reacted in the first movie to the cool, cocky, calm, confident Tony Stark being something different. And this movie's like, no, he is similar to other superheroes, which I can understand some people not enjoying. And it really does rest on the performance of Rob Downey Jr., who does a really, really good job. But there are moments where it seems like they're not entirely sure how they want Tony Stark be played, because it goes back from this acerbic wit of the first one, which is very much based in Rob Downey Jr.'s style of acting at the time. Movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, where he's like very fast, very witty, very urbane. And this movie, it's like they're trying to find balance of it. You notice some scenes seem a bit weird, like the party scene seems very out of place, but then the banter of Gwyneth Paltrow, aka Pepper Potts, feels really Pepper Potts even feels really, really sharp still, which is very nice to see a fair few years later. It's got a real 1930s noir vibe, screwball comedy vibe to it, really good back and forth dialogue, which by all accounts are pretty much improvised between the two, which is quite a nice thing. In regards to the villains, you got a great cast in this movie. You got Sam Rockwell and Mickey Rourke, both who get very, very little to do. And they're both interesting, both good actors, and they both bring something to the table. But at the same time, it's like they feel kind of wasted. Like, Sam Rockwell plays comic relief when he could probably pull off playing Tony Stark, and Mickey Rourke gets enough to be good, but it's still undeveloped, and that's the problem Marvel had with their initial batch of villains. They seem to be relying on the actors rather than characters, and that results in some performances which were tonally off. We also get some problematic stuff, because Christine Everhart is back as played by Leslie Bibb in the first movie, and they essentially slut-shame her again, which is weird because it was consensual of Tony Stark, and Pepper Potts treating Christine Everhart like shit is very, very weird. I mean, I like that it gives the character some dynamics and that she's not a pushover, but it's strangely sort of sexist, almost unintentionally sexist, I guess you could say. You also get return from Nick Fury, played by Samuel Jackson, who is I'll admit, honestly, I don't think Nick Fury gets particularly good or interesting till you get to Captain America Winter Soldier, in which case he finally gets stuff to do. Even in the Avengers, it feels a bit stilted, and the dialogue doesn't flow from Samuel Jackson's mouth quite where you'd expect. In Civil Winter Soldier movies like that, they seem to play into him a bit more. It's like Jeremy Renner, his first few Marvel appearances weren't very good, and indeed Scarlett Johansson's not particularly great here because they don't really know what the character is, and again, slightly sexist. The idea that a Russian spy would pose as a supermodel, and the lingering shots of her butt and catsuits and stuff like that, and so like, and Jon Favreau's bizarre improv with her, which doesn't really work, sort of like, oh, you're a woman, I guess you can't box. And then it's like, Happy, you're literally the employee of Pepper Potts. Why are you such a sexist arsehole, It's like, it'd be fine if it was going somewhere, but it doesn't really. But core of the movie, or at least the attempted core of the movie, is between Howard Stark and Tony Stark. Howard Stark obviously being Tony Stark's deceased father, and the way we get some measure of resolution to the Tony his daddy issues stuff from the first movie, and they did a really good job with it. They cast John Slattery as Howard Stark, who's clearly not the actor who was portraying for the pictures in the first movie, but that's fine. I guess they didn't think Howard Stark's going to be the main character in this franchise, which is a little weird, but what can you do? But you get some good dynamics there, and you also get a sense that they're giving some supporting characters their own little backstory and their own little story arc, because clearly Howard loved Tony, but we didn't necessarily see that because Howard was dead shit in present day. But the idea of Howard as this guy who cared for his son and was restricted by technology of his time and wanted to hide his stuff from S.H.I.E.L.D. and as much as possible, which is a little weird. Maybe I'll come back and play later on. So yeah, that's good. And it's a decent movie. Jon Favreau doesn't make bad movies, in which they might not be movies you particularly enjoy, but he does a good job of pacing them and decent job with the actors. It's just, this really does seem like there's some serious politics going on behind the scenes at Marvel, and there were at the time, trust me. They tried to lowball Samuel Jackson and Mickey Rourke, because the guy Permuta, whatever his name is, a guy who used to be in charge of the Marvel Studios, was a money grubber, I guess you could say, and he is very sexist and possibly slightly racist, uncorroborated, but it's rumoured online, some places. He did not want to pay them, and the Marvel Creative Committee was interfering with movies and things like that. So this clearly isn't a movie Jon Favreau or Kevin Feige necessarily wanted to make, but as their own movie, it's not bad. It's not up to levels of Iron Man, and it's not up to levels that Marvel movies we've later get to, but it's decent. It's a road to the Avengers movie. It's fine, it's just, it's not necessarily the sequel to Iron Man should have had, but it's quite watchable. I'd probably go for 3 stars out of 5. I don't know, recommend's the wrong word, but it's on Disney. If you have Disney Plus and you want to watch a super movie and you want to go in order of Marvel movies, you could do worse than watch Iron Man 2, which comes immediately after Iron Man, but not bad. Watchable, definitely watchable. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with the first Thor movie. That'll be interesting, so I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. But for now, remember, life is beautiful.